Hi guys. So I ended up taking most of the weekend off just to unwind, not spend a whole lot of time on social media. There's just been some stuff going on that is outside the norm. Like, there's so much toxicity on social media. There's a lot of good too, but obviously there's a lot of toxicity, and some of the things that I've come across in between the Kaya thing and there's been some other stuff that I'm not going to cover myself, but it's just so much. And I want to make something very clear for most of you. I think you'll know this, but I get sent some stuff and have conversations offline. Even if, like, there are people on this platform that I do not like, and I don't respect them, and they might not like me either. There's stuff that goes on with some people, and it's like, even if I don't like you, like, I don't want to see people, like, have their house put at risk or have their, you know, family members dragged into stuff. I don't know. It's just so much. Either way, I don't have to like you to be able to also be able to recognize that all of us should be able to make our content and not be put in harm's way. That's how I feel about it. I went over and just out of curiosity, I was looking at the Doherty Dozen's TikTok today, and I guess like she took the kids to a baseball game, and her youngest child just had a birthday, and she showed the birthday haul, and there were some grocery hauls over there. Alicia is never going to like listen to what anyone has to say. She's still doing roll calls, allowing her children to share, you know, what their favorite stuff is. And while that might seem innocent, and this kind of also ties into what I was talking about recently, but kids need to stay off social media. Like, this is why I talk about this all the time, because there can be a really innocent video of kids lining up and sharing their favorite color or their favorite sport or whatever. Something very innocent that a child might say or do can literally be taken and manipulated and twisted into something super dark and gross and disgusting, and it can be used in a manner which the parent never intended it to be used in this manner, but that's what people on the internet do. And I'm not only talking about people on the dark web, I'm talking about just people online. It doesn't have to be the dark web for people to manipulate what is a really, you know, innocent piece of content into something bad. That's what's going on with the Doherty Dozen. Alicia will never learn. She'll never do better. She will never come to a realization and say, you know, let me take some of this old content down because I want to protect my children. That's just not what she's here to do. And that's also why at a certain point, like, I stopped covering her. How many times can I say this is outrageous? Her entire platform is just outrageous and it's negatively impacting her children. I can only say that so many times without it just turning into like, okay, now I'm only covering them because it's getting me some clicks and I've rounded up people that don't like the Doherty Dozen, which is in all fairness, but I'm not going to talk about it till I'm blue in the face, and you guys kind of know the deal with that. Next thing I want to talk about is there is another TikToker who was literally exposed for having conversations with a 16-year-old fan offline. And I say offline, I mean like not publicly. It wasn't a public conversation. There's a TikToker. His name is Mikey. His at name is true crimer. Like, he opens his TikToks and says, "Hello, true crimers."
Hello, true crimers.
Kind of weird. Whatever. That's his thing. But he was... there's a conversation going around again now because he was, he had this fan group chat thing very similar to Colleen, and he was having inappropriate conversations with a 16-year-old. He ended up getting not only close with the 16-year-old to the point where he was trauma dumping on the 16-year-old, which he has admitted himself, but he also got in close with the 16-year-old's parents, which I think is very, very strange. Why are you allowing your teenage child to carry on conversations with an adult man that they met on the internet? I don't care if the person has 10 million followers and is a mainstream public figure. Why on earth are you allowing your teenage child to have these conversations with a grown adult? I think that is weirdo behavior, and he has recently come out and kind of readdress this situation, I guess. I'm going to play 2 videos. I'm going to play his, and I'm also going to play this other guy, John Scott. He's a hairstylist. He was involved in this, just so you can hear his account of what was going on as well, because he was involved in this a little bit. But it's just so crazy. Like, why are we living in a world where adults are carrying on conversations with children?
On another creator's video who duetted that MAGA dance thing I did. So I wanted to address this. I remember when I had about 200,000 or 300,000 followers, I addressed this, and then on a couple of live streams I talked about it. But it's probably been like a year and a half, maybe 2 years or so since I have talked about it. So about, I guess, 2.5, 3 years ago, I had another TikTok page where it was like a political TikTok kind of only. Through that, I made a lot of friends that I talked to daily. One of those friends was a teenager. They were 16 years old. Now, my friendship with this individual was very public. There was nothing hidden about it. And that 16-year-old was also friends with a slew of other adult creators on this app. Mutuals with other adult creators on this app. It wasn't just me. But my friendship with this person was definitely more prominent, for sure. This 16-year-old, at least back then, I have no idea now, was like really into psychology and studying psychology. So I shared a lot of my psychological trauma, especially being attacked by teenagers when I was in high school, with this 16-year-old. This 16-year-old did live streams with other adult creators, not just myself, and sometimes I wasn't even on it. Now, most of the creators were just calling me out because I was putting my psychological trauma on a young person, which in hindsight I now know was a stupid thing to do. I shouldn't have done that. But then people started calling me a groomer and a pedophile. Me being the overweight gay guy, it fit the bill. Now, this teenager, their parents were fully aware of the friendship they had with me and all the other adult creators. As a matter of fact, that person's parents even came on some live streams to say hi to, us. Because, they know their teenager, they trust their teenager. But when we tried to tell that to people who were calling me a pedophile and whatnot, those people didn't want to listen to the parents. They also gaslit this teenager. They refused to let that individual speak or have any say in any of this. Kind of treated them like crap. One of them said that the parents don't get a say in any of it. Some of these accusers, not this person, but some of them said that they never talked to, people under the age of 18. But then through their accusations towards me said they talked to this person who was under the age of 18. Stated that person stated that I was going to end my life, which was a lie. Never, ever, ever, ever was that said by me. That being said, when it came to fight or flight, my brain chose both. I reacted horrifically. I blocked everyone. I lashed out at everyone. I even tried throwing people under the bus, which was wrong and stupid. I lashed out at someone's addiction problem, which was stupid. I guess I kind of felt that one of these people lying about me saying I was going to end my own life kind of, I felt was like, oh, well, that's opening the door for me to be an asshole. And I was. I was a complete asshole. I was coming up with like these insane excuses. I was just being an idiot. You know, even though I was the one accused of being a groomer and a pedophile, which I'm not, which I see all the time from MAGA people, you know, here, still, I still probably reacted the poorest of everyone. I think, and my therapist, because I was seeing, when I saw my therapist during this time, I think my brain, or she thinks my brain, went back to my high school days where I had told a friend something, that friend turned it on me, and then that caused the next 4 or 5 years of my life to be utter hell. I think my brain went back to that. Back then, I didn't fight back, I didn't argue, but this time, apparently, I decided to do just that. But yeah, no, I reacted horrifically. I have apologized to some people that I said nasty things to, others that I have not. You know, some of these other people I hope to never speak to again. But I'm aware this video will probably cause me to lose quite a few followers, and that's totally fine. I know I lost a lot when I talked about this a couple of years ago on this page, and I think I lost some when I talked about it on a live stream, but there was nothing pedophilic or grooming going on, but I did have what you could construe as inappropriate conversations because I was talking about my mental health struggles and my trauma with, you know, a teenager, which, you know, I, to this day, am terrified of teenagers because of the shit I went through. So for me to befriend one, well, that was a miracle. I don't even know. Like, I'm still afraid of my own nieces and nephews because they're of the younger age. But now, I barely talk to anyone, ever. Don't leave my house for any reason whatsoever, other than the important shit like doctors and groceries. But I know there are plenty of people here who have my back, who know exactly everything, and know that I wasn't actually doing anything gross. And you could have my cell phone, my computer, which I've had for years. You can check my text history, my call history, my app history. You can call the Phoenix Police Department. I will freely let them openly investigate me. My name is Michael Bridey, Brieaddy. The Phoenix, Arizona Police Department, that is. And I will happily give them anything they want. They did try to call and get me fired back then, which that same day I ended up getting a promotion and a raise. Because my coworkers and bosses, they know me. But yeah, if y'all have any questions about it, I'm more than happy to answer any questions you have below. So yeah. But yeah, no, I handled it very problematically back then. That is 100% on me and literally nobody else. I could have and should have handled it way better, but I chose not to. However, I will say that that particular experience taught me a lot about myself and things that I definitely needed to change about myself. Things I have definitely worked on over the past few years. I am not perfect. I'm very far from it. 16 years old. Now, my friendship with this individual was very public. There was no...
Yeah, Mikey, we're not going to be gaslighting people here. That's not going to work for me. You were having an inappropriate friendship with a 16-year-old. We weren't all friends with the 16-year-old. That's not what happened. So I'm going to tell the truth for you, since you seem incapable. You created a group chat. There were a lot of adults in that group chat, all of which you invited, and you invited the 16-year-old. Quite a few of us didn't know he was 16. And when we found out, we were immediately uncomfortable, and we all pulled back on how much we conversed with him in the group setting. That group chat was established to discuss politics, social issues, problematic creators, and to help each other out when we were under attack by conservative accounts. Those were the things the adults discussed in that group chat, and that kid would chime in. Seemed innocent enough, but still made a lot of us uncomfortable. The people in the group that were moms would have a motherly approach with him as soon as they found out he was 16. Some of them knew beforehand, I didn't. But it was when we found out that you were having private conversations with that kid outside of the group, that you were trauma dumping on that kid outside of the group. And if I remember correctly, you started to get in good with his family outside of the group. It was shortly after we figured out all that, we made you aware that we thought the behavior was sus. And you got all spooked and started freaking out and doing a bunch of different apology videos. I believe you backed off that kid real fucking quick. Remember, I once had to tell you to stop tagging me in your videos because I was done with your bullshit. was done with your lies, and I was done with your trauma dumping and your excuses and your gaslighting. Apparently, you're still doing. As far as political TikTok went, you and your social issues that you would jump on, it was clear that you were jumping from issue to issue depending on which one was going to get you more likes, views, clicks, comments, and follows. Now you're doing true crime. I'm shocked. Oh, and I'm going to tag your little friends that try to defend you blindly in that comment section you made this video in. They want to be complicit in being cool with someone that appeared to be acting very sus with a 16-year-old, felt very groomish, if you ask me, then that's on their conscience, not mine. Couldn't be me.
Like, I understand that building up a social media presence, people of all ages might come across your content, even if it's not intended for that demographic. People are going to come across your content, especially once you're talking about having millions of eyes on your channel. But number one, why would you invite them into a group chat where other adults are having conversations about true crime cases, politics, adult topics that kids don't need to be present for some of these conversations, let's be honest. But you're going to invite them in there, know how old they are, and then you're going to take that conversation and then have other conversations with them and build up a parasocial connection to the point where you are trauma dumping on a child as a grown man. So I don't get it. I don't understand it. Can't reconcile, can't do the math on that one. But I wanted to talk to you guys about it. Do you follow this TikToker, Mikey? Do you know Mikey? Have you seen his content before? What do you think about this? Am I not being understanding? Am I just being like too hard on my rules? And maybe that's a me problem. Like, I bring this stuff to you guys so that we can talk about it, but like, I just don't understand what an adult, like, I don't know how old Mikey is. I think he's in his 30s. Why, as somebody in that age range, like, I couldn't imagine wanting to carry on a conversation with a teenager, because even if it's a teenager who is mature or intelligent or whatever, like, it's just wrong. I know that it's wrong. And if I know your age and I continue to carry on conversations with you, I think that's strange. I think it's weird. I think it's inappropriate. And, you know, this guy Mikey has said that he has a therapist and he's in therapy and all of those good things. But like, maybe you should also reconcile why you were okay having those conversations with a teenager, and let's hope that it never happens again, because my God, that is weirdo behavior. And as a final little thing before I close this video out, I know it's going to be a quick one, but more content is coming. I'm trying to like juggle everything. You guys get it. I wanted to say that Kaya Simon did not do that live yesterday, which was Sunday. So I guess she went ahead and scrapped it, which I think is the best plan, because there's really nothing else to say as of right now. I also want to offer this as kind of a discussion point, because I've seen a few comments of people saying that Kaya didn't need to expose her partner's information because it's not her history, it's not her criminal past, so on and so forth. That's not the majority, but I have seen a few comments saying things along those lines. How do you guys feel about that? Is there an obligation when you make a channel to be, you know, transparent with who your partner is, even if your partner is not on your channel? Now, I feel like there are certain protections that are put in place, because yeah, like if your partner isn't part of your channel, and you know, nobody would care if it was like a drug charge, something stupid, you know, like shoplifting, something not involving kids. I don't think anyone would care, but I think because the topic of kids is so It is so for real. It is like the worst of the worst, like I said. And he was convicted and served time for this. So it wasn't a rumor that people came up with or anything like that. But what do you guys think about that? Is there any truth to she didn't really owe people the transparency? Like, do you agree with that, or do you guys agree with what the majority of people are saying, and that is, if you're going to sit here and hold people accountable, but you're sleeping next to this person, most people think that it was owed to her audience ahead of time. But the most important takeaway is not just the nature of the crime, but it's what they said in that interview that really sealed the deal for me. It was the lack of remorse. It was the lack of, I am actually a different person now, and I am disgusted by the prior version of who I was back then. And just kind of saying, like, basically, you know, oh, there were no victims, like, get over it kind of thing. Like, that's why people were so upset. It wasn't just the fact of, like, well, you had a commentary channel and you didn't say anything. It was that interview that really did the whole thing in for a lot of people. At least that's what I've gathered. But I did want to offer the other side, kind of echo those comments, just as a way to extend the conversation. But I'm going to stop blabbering for now. But if you like the video, please leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.